What's up? I'm Lily. Revenge Crown brings you the stories that keep you hooked. If that sounds good, smash subscribe and let's go. Whispered back, not here. Not now. But the thing about patterns is they don't wait for convenient moments. They show up exactly when they're supposed to, under fairy lights and champagne bubbles. With 140 witnesses holding their phones half raised, half hidden. The air smelled like peonies and vanilla buttercream, sweet enough to choke on. The string quartet had just started the second verse when my mother leaned in during a turn, her perfume thick and floral, impossible to breathe through. She smiled her rehearsed smile, the one she used for wedding guests and holiday photos, and said it so casually, like she was commenting on the weather. "Your grandmother's necklace should really go to your sister now." My husband Daniel felt me stiffen in his arms. His hand tightened on my waist. A small question. "Are you okay?" I smiled, small and calm and dangerous. "We'll talk about it later, Mom. There's nothing to talk about." "Sweetheart." She kept smiling, kept swaying near us like she was dancing too. "You've had your turn wearing it. Ashley would look beautiful in it. And honestly, with her coloring, it suits her better." From the head table, my sister Ashley caught my eye and actually mouthed the words across the dance floor. "It matches my dress better." Then she touched her bare neck, where she'd apparently already imagined it sitting. The world bent for Ashley. It always had. I was 8 when I learned I was the hinge that made things move in our family. Not the door, not the room everyone wanted to enter. Just the small metal piece that held everything together while everyone else walked through. Ashley got the bigger bedroom because she was afraid of the dark. I got the room next to the water heater that clanked all night because I was practical. Ashley got piano lessons and art camp and a sweet 16 at the country club. I worked double shifts at the mall the summer I turned 16 to buy my first car, a 2004 Honda Civic with a dent in the passenger door. "You're so responsible," my mother would say, arranging her face into something like pride. "Ashley needs more support. You've always been the strong one, the strong one. The reliable one, the one who didn't need things." Translation: the resource. When Ashley crashed her second car junior year, I co-signed for her third. When she couldn't make rent in college, I sent money from my paycheck. When she needed a reference for jobs she'd quit within months, I wrote glowing recommendations. "You're such a good sister," my mother said each time, smiling that rehearsed smile. And I believed it meant something. I believed being good meant being valued. I was 29 when I met Daniel's family and learned what family could actually look like. His parents, Robert and Linda, were high school teachers. Not wealthy, but generous in the way that costs nothing, listening, trusting, handing you space to exist. At their dinner table, no one talked over anyone else. No one's needs erased someone else's. When Linda asked how you were, she waited for the real answer. The first time I had dinner there, I cried in Daniel's car afterward. He held my hand across the console and didn't ask why. He already knew. 6 months before the wedding, I started seeing Dr. Sarah Chun. My company offered therapy through our benefits, and my paralegal co-worker Marcus had been gently suggesting it for a year. "You're not being dramatic," Marcus said one afternoon when I mentioned my family expected me to help pay for Ashley's destination bachelorette party. "You're being used," Dr. Chun said it differently. "You've been trained to see exploitation as love." She taught me about narcissistic family systems, about scapegoats and golden children, about how "you're so giving" is sometimes manipulation disguised as compliment. "They won't change," she said during one session. "But you can decide what you're willing to accept." I started setting boundaries. Small ones. I stopped answering every text immediately. I said no to covering Ashley's car payment. I didn't explain or justify. I just said no. My mother called it going through a phase. My father called it unnecessary conflict. Ashley called me selfish. On a family group chat, and my mother hearted the message. Daniel's mother sent me a text that same day. "Boundaries don't make you difficult. They make you whole." I kept that text. I read it when the guilt got loud. 2 weeks before the wedding, Marcus and I stayed late at the office working on a property case. He made coffee while I reviewed documents, and I told him about my grandmother's necklace. My father's mother had given it to me on her deathbed 3 years ago. A simple strand of pearls with a sapphire clasp, Nothing extravagant, but she'd worn it every Sunday for 40 years. She held my hand and said, "For you, Maya, you were always listening when everyone else was talking." I wore it to every important moment after that. My first case win, Daniel's proposal, job interviews. It sat in the hotel safe now, waiting for tomorrow. Ashley wants it, I told Marcus. Mom's been hinting for months that I should share special things with my sister. Marcus looked up from his laptop. It was given to you. I know. So why do I sense a but coming? Because they'll make a scene at the wedding. I can feel it. Marcus was quiet for a moment, then opened a desk drawer and pulled out a legal pad. You know what we do here when we sense someone might challenge property ownership? We document everything. We document everything, he repeated. And we prepare. We spent the next hour drafting a notarized declaration. Simple, clear, legally sound. It stated that all gifts received in my name during the wedding weekend were titled exclusively to me and could not be transferred without my explicit written consent. Additional clause: any attempt to claim, transfer, or pressure me to relinquish said gifts would trigger legal review and forfeit any future inheritance from Daniel S. family estate. Daniel signed it when I showed him that night. He didn't hesitate. "You're not being paranoid," he said, using the same words Marcus had used. "You're being prepared." I had the document notarized 3 days before the wedding. I put it in a cream envelope and tucked it in Daniel S. jacket pocket the morning of the ceremony, just in case. The wedding was perfect. Small garden venue, 140 guests, fairy lights strung through the oak trees like captured stars. I wore my grandmother's pearls with my ivory dress, the sapphire clasp catching the late afternoon sun. During the ceremony, I caught my mother staring at the necklace. Not at me, at it. Ashley sat in the second row wearing emerald sequins and scrolling through her phone during the vows. But Daniel's parents sat in the front row, Linda crying softly, Robert beaming. When we walked back down the aisle as husband and wife, Linda squeezed my hand and whispered, "Welcome to the family, sweetheart. You've always belonged." The reception was everything we'd hoped for. Champagne toasts and string quartet music. The cake was 3 tiers of lemon lavender. Our first dance was supposed to be our moment, the one we'd practiced in our apartment kitchen, the one where nothing else existed. We made it 90 seconds before my mother interrupted. She materialized at the edge of the dance floor like she'd been waiting. The music didn't stop, but I felt the shift. Guests turning slightly, phones lowering. Attention pivoting. "Maya, sweetheart," she said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. That smile, that perfume. "Can I borrow you for just a moment?" "We're dancing, Mom. I know, and you look beautiful." "I just need one tiny second." Daniel's hand tightened on my waist, but I nodded. The song would loop. We had time. Except we didn't. My mother leaned in during a turn, her voice still projecting just enough. "Your grandmother's necklace should really go to your sister now." I stopped moving. "What? You've had it for 3 years, sweetheart." "Ashley would love to wear it for special occasions. And with her coloring, it really does suit her better." Daniel had gone very still beside me. "It was given to me, Mom." "I know, and you've enjoyed it. But sharing is what family does." She touched the pearls at my throat, her fingers cold. "Besides, you have Daniel's family jewelry now. You don't need this too." From the head table, Ashley was watching. She smiled and mouthed across the dance floor, "It matches my dress better." Then she touched her bare neck, performing for the tables around her, showing everyone how reasonable she was being, how patient, how deserving. The string quartet kept playing. Champagne flutes paused halfway to lips. I could feel eyes on us, witnesses to whatever came next. "We'll talk about this later," I said quietly. "There's nothing to talk about." My mother's smile never wavered. "I already told Ashley she could have it after the reception. You can give it to her when you're changing for the honeymoon." My father appeared then, uncomfortable in his tuxedo, staring at the ground. "Maya, don't make this difficult. It's just a necklace. Your sister really wants it. She's had everything her whole life," I said, my voice not shaking. "She can't have this. That's not fair." My mother's voice sharpened. "Ashley deserves beautiful things too." "You've always been so giving, Naya. Don't be petty now." Ashley stood up from the head table, sequins catching the fairy lights. She walked over with that confidence only golden children have, the kind that comes from never hearing no. Come on, Maya, don't be weird about this. She reached toward the necklace. Just let me try it on. I stepped back. Daniel moved between us. His jaw was tight, his voice calm and unreadable. Don't touch my wife. Ashley blinked. Excuse me? You heard me. My mother laughed, nervous now. Daniel, this is a family matter. You don't understand the history. I understand enough. The music had shifted. Guests at nearby tables had gone quiet. Phones were half raised, half hidden. The moment was crystallizing into something no one could deny later. My father tried his peacekeeping voice. Can we not do this here? At the wedding? Please? I didn't start it, I said. You're making a scene, my mother hissed. No, Daniel said quietly. You are. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out the cream envelope. The one I'd almost forgotten. The one Marcus had helped me prepare. You might want to read this, Daniel said, handing it to my mother, before you finish that sentence. My mother took the envelope like it might burn her. Ashley read over her shoulder, her sequin dress pressing against Mom's burgundy silk. The string quartet was still playing, but softer now, like they sensed something shifting in the air. I watched my mother unfold the single page. Watched her eyes move across the notarized declaration, the legal language, the specific clauses. At first, confusion. Then recognition. Then color draining from her face, inch by inch, like someone had opened a valve. What is this? She whispered. It's a legal document, I said. My voice steady, stating that all gifts received in my name this weekend are my exclusive property and cannot be transferred without my written consent. Ashley grabbed the paper. This is insane. It's notarized, Daniel added. Legally binding. My father finally looked up from the floor. Maya, you can't be serious. Read the second clause, I said. My mother's hands were shaking now. She read aloud, her voice breaking. Any attempt to claim, transfer, or coerce the relinquishment of said property will trigger legal review and result in forfeiture of any future inheritance from the spouse's family estate. The silence that followed was absolute. The string quartet had stopped playing altogether. Champagne flutes sat untouched on tables. 140 witnesses held their breath. You're threatening us? My mother's mascara was starting to smudge. At your own wedding? I'm protecting myself, I said. There's a difference. Ashley's face had gone red. This is psychotic. It's a necklace. We're family. Exactly, I said. We're family. So why are you trying to take something that was given to me? I wasn't trying to take it. I just wanted to borrow. You already told people you were keeping it. I kept my voice calm, dangerous. I heard you on the phone last week. You told Aunt Carol it was basically yours now, because it matched your aesthetic better. Ashley's mouth opened, closed. No words came. My father tried one more time. Maya, please. Can we discuss this privately? Not here. Not like this. Where should we discuss it, Dad? At another family dinner where you all decide what I'm allowed to keep. At another holiday where I'm expected to smile and give things away. Linda, Daniel's mother, had stood up from her table. Robert placed a hand on her arm, but she shook her head. She walked over slowly, her eyes on my mother. I think, Linda said carefully, you should leave the necklace alone. My mother turned to her, desperate. This is a family matter. It is, Linda agreed. And in families we respect boundaries, we respect gifts. We respect each other. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. Linda's voice was steel wrapped in silk. That necklace was given to Maya by her grandmother. It's hers.
End of discussion.
The air felt electric. Phones were fully raised now, no longer hidden. The band members were watching from their platform. Our photographer had her camera lowered, unsure whether to document this. My mother looked around at the witnesses, at the guests who would remember this moment, who would talk about it at brunches and book clubs. Her perfect mother of the bride facade was cracking in real time. You'll regret this, she said quietly. No, I said. I really won't. Ashley made one last attempt, her voice rising. You're being selfish. We raised you to be kind. You raised me to be convenient, I said. There's a difference. My mother's hands were shaking hard enough that the paper rattled. She tried to hand it back to Daniel, but he stepped away. "Keep it," he said. "Consider it a reminder." My father finally spoke, his voice flat. "This is cruel, Maya, treating us like criminals at your wedding. Help isn't theft," I said. "And love isn't access." The words hung in the air like smoke. My mother straightened her shoulders, trying to salvage something. "We should go." "Yes," Daniel said. "You should." They left, all three of them. My mother, with her rehearsed composure finally shattered, mascara smudged, perfume trailing. My father staring at the ground. Ashley in her emerald sequins, furious tears streaking her makeup. The guests parted like water. No one said goodbye. When they were gone, the silence stretched for exactly 5 seconds. Then someone started clapping. I don't know who. Maybe one of Daniel's cousins, maybe a friend from work. But it spread, slowly at first, then building. Applause rolling through the reception like a wave. Linda wrapped me in a hug that smelled like lavender and safety. "You did good, sweetheart." Robert clapped Daniel on the shoulder. "That's my son." The string quartet started playing again. Champagne flutes were raised. The moment passed from crisis into memory, locked in place by witnesses and phones, and the fairy lights that had seen everything. Daniel pulled me back onto the dance floor.
His hand found mine. His thumb brushed my wrist. "You okay?"
I touched the pearls at my throat. My grandmother's pearls, mine. "Yeah," I said. "I think I am." We finished our dance. The call started before we left the reception. My phone buzzed in my clutch purse with texts from my mother, my father, Ashley. I didn't read them. Daniel drove us to the hotel in the car his parents had given us as a wedding gift, a 2019 Subaru Outback, clean title, with a note that said, "You built this together. Here's something to help you move forward." The car my family had never even acknowledged. In the hotel suite, I finally checked my phone. 92 missed calls. 47 text messages. "Mom, please call me. We need to talk about this." "Dad, you embarrassed us in front of everyone." "Ashley, I can't believe you humiliated me like that. Everyone's talking about it." "Aunt Carol, your mother is devastated. How could you?" But there were other messages too. "Daniel's cousin Rachel. That was the most badass thing I've ever seen at a wedding." My coworker friend Emma. "Holy shit. Are you okay?" "That took guts, Marcus. Proud of you. The document worked perfectly." "Well done." And one from a number I didn't recognize. "This is your mom's friend Patricia. I just want you to know I've watched your family treat you like that for years. I'm glad you finally stood up for yourself." I turned off my phone. Daniel ordered room service. We ate chocolate-covered strawberries and drank champagne on the balcony, fairy lights from the venue still visible through the trees. "Do you think I was too harsh?" I asked. Daniel was quiet for a moment. "Do you think you were?" "No." "Then that's your answer." I touched the pearls. "Still there, still mine. They're going to tell everyone I'm cruel. That I ruined the wedding over a necklace. They're going to tell their version," Daniel said. "But 140 people saw what actually happened. They can't rewrite that." He was right. The next morning, my phone still off would be full of messages from extended family who'd heard the story from guests. Some angry, some confused, but many supportive. Many who'd seen the pattern for years and were just waiting for someone to name it. But that night, in the hotel suite, I didn't think about any of that. I thought about the silence. How it didn't ache anymore. How it settled like snow, soft and clean. A week later, Daniel and I were in our apartment, unpacking wedding gifts and sorting thank you cards. The Subaru sat in our parking spot downstairs, reliable and ours. My phone had been back on for 3 days. The calls had slowed to a trickle. I'd blocked my mother, father, and Ashley after reading one final message from each. "Mom, when you're ready to apologize, we'll consider forgiving you." I laughed out loud when I read it, dry and low. The sound of someone who'd finally stopped apologizing for existing. Extended family reached out with questions. I answered some, ignored others. My cousin Jennifer, who I'd always liked, sent a long text about how she felt steamrolled by Ashley at family events for years and was glad someone finally set a boundary. "Boundaries," she wrote. "That's all it was. And they're acting like you committed a crime. She was right. I'd set a boundary at my own wedding in front of witnesses with a legal document to prevent gaslighting later. And my family was treating it like a betrayal. Dr. Chun said it differently in our next session. You remove their access to you. To them, that feels like cruelty. Because they've never had to consider your needs before. So I'm not wrong? You protected yourself. That's never wrong. Daniel's family invited us for Sunday dinner that weekend. The kind of dinner where people asked how you were and waited for the real answer. Where no one's needs erased someone else's. Where love was presence, not performance. Linda hugged me at the door. How are you holding up? Better than I thought I would be. Good, because what you did took incredible strength. I wore the pearls to that dinner. And to the next one. And to every Sunday dinner after that. My mother never apologized, neither did Ashley. Neither did my father, but I stopped waiting for it. 3 months after the wedding, I was having coffee with Marcus at our usual spot near the office.
He asked how I was doing, really doing, the way he always asked. Honestly, I stirred sugar into my latte.
I feel lighter. The phone that doesn't ring anymore? Yeah, that. It was true. The silence on my phone, no demanding texts, no guilt trip calls, no last-minute requests for money or time or pieces of myself felt like breathing after years underwater. I joined a support group for adult children of narcissistic parents, listened to stories that sounded like mine. Learned that I wasn't alone, wasn't dramatic, wasn't cruel. I was just done. You know what I learned? I told Marcus. Boundaries don't destroy families, they define them. And if your family can't exist within your boundaries, then what you had wasn't family. It was a performance where you played a supporting role. Marcus nodded. And now? Now I'm the lead in my own life. The pearls sat against my collarbone, catching the afternoon light. My grandmother's gift. My inheritance. Mine. I thought about her sometimes, about what she'd say if she could see me now. I think she'd smile. I think she'd say, "Good, you were always listening when everyone else was talking. Now you're speaking too." Freedom whispers, doesn't roar. It sounds like a phone that doesn't ring with demands. Like a Sunday dinner where no one asks you to be smaller. Like a husband who stands between you and harm without being asked. Like pearls that no one can take. If you've ever had to draw a line with someone who called it love, share your story below. You're not alone, and you don't owe anyone your peace.